Welcome back to Behind the Lava Lava, everybody. We are Fiapoka Samoan veterans who like to chop it up on various subjects through our unique perspective. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're glad that you're here. Please forgive us for starting a little bit later, but we, of course, had to sit around and kick it to see and make sure that our brother Iam Tongi picked up his W at American Idol at the finale. Congratulations. We're very happy for you. We'll celebrate with you, and we couldn't be more proud. Now, we want to remind everybody that we are, of course, sponsored by Matai Watches. It's a timepiece that, look good representing your culture out there. Like it's a very unique timepiece that'll keep you proud and remind you of your roots. So we just want to go ahead and kick it off. Like I said, first and foremost, probably going to talk about Iam and his win. All right, guys. What do you take from that?
I just want to say congratulations to all the contestants, and I'm very happy that Iam Tongi won. It's mainly because, I still live by that concept. If one of us wins, we all win for the Pacific Islanders. So congratulations to Iam.
So does that make us cousins? Because he's my cousin from my mom's side, I think.
I think you have more chances of being cousins.
And it's my cousin. That means we're all cousins, huh? Cousin.
Yeah, he has more chance of being your cousin because of your Tongan side.
Well, my uncle Rock, I think we were cousins through him. Because your cousin at Rock, I cousin Rock my Iam. We got cousin Umakako.
So what stood out to you guys during this episode? I know Johnny didn't see this episode, so boo on you, Johnny. So disappointed.
What do you mean?
I'm very disappointed.
Say that out in public. I watched it.
We're very transparent on Behind the Lava Lava.
Through TikTok.
So Johnny, I'm very disappointed that you didn't support our cousin Iam by watching the full episode. And just to give a little background on me when I'm watching American Idol, I've never seen a full episode of American Idol since season 2 when Ruben Studdard won. And I was surprised to see Ruben Studdard sing a song on this season. So it was amazing to finally hop back on and tune into American Idol. I usually don't see or watch American Idol because it's not very interesting to me. So what do you guys think?
Man, that performance he did with James Blunt, woo! Had the waterworks going for everyone. I don't think there's a dry eye, man. And if you got Jelly Roll, you already seen Jelly Roll on the JRE. Shed a little bit of tears, but you seen him sitting next to Iam's mom's, and he was crying. Everybody, man. But it was just like Michael, man. Ain't nobody watched really full episodes of that thing until Iam came along, you know what I'm saying? Or at least fast forward to his parts. And his song choices were pretty genius throughout his journey, which is, I think, separates him from a lot of the contestants that come from Hawaii or other Polynesian contestants, is his ability to choose songs that really suited him, but also brought a vibe.
And what's cool about him, he stuck true to the culture, how he played. A lot of the songs were poly songs, and he didn't go for that mainstream music. He stayed true to the culture. Especially when I was surprised when he sang that Cool Down song by I think it was Kalohe Kai, right? So that was amazing of him to rep the culture instead of singing mainstream music that we hear on the radio today.
For sure, and I think that song choice is 100%. I think one of the reasons he resonated with people so well. They said it right at the end of the show. They mentioned his debut video and singing that James Blunt song because it was so heartfelt that you would have thought that Tongi wrote it because it felt like it was right out of his soul. And so having not even written the words, but to be able to perform it on a level that's so relatable that, he just captured that humanity that just resonated with people, and so I think that says a lot about how talented he is, how gifted he is, that people who may not normally listen to this kind of music, they can tune in and they can feel what he's trying to express to them. Like that's an amazing talent. That's a gift right there. I'm glad to see that carried him through. His talent and his humanity like really spoke to people and carried him through to the finish line. Congratulations.
It was amazing that James Blunt was there to sing it with him because he held it down while Iam, he was struggling to sing because of his emotions. I was trying to hold back my tears, but I couldn't cry in front of my kids and my wife. So that was hard for me.
Flow.
Yeah. I couldn't show weakness to these people, you know?
Hey, I'll cry and I'll bench 100 pounds. So
Well, you remember, like even when his debut video came out during his audition, James Blunt like retweeted like shout out to Iam Tongi because his song went from like not doing so well and it popped up to like number 2 or 3 on the Billboard charts just from that viral video going out there. And I mean, it was one of those things where I've like for me, I've heard the song before, but it was kind of like in the back. We never really resonate with the lyrics up until you watched it and you saw Iam sing it emotionally and get all sappy. And you're like, wait. And then you start listening to the words. And you're like, wait. This is a little bit more than that instead of just the tune. And so, I mean, I thought it was really a big deal. And then obviously, I saw the little snippet of Joe Rogan and Jelly Roll talking about how, the impact of the song on him as well. It was more, he brought the feeling to it, and then you watch the music video, James Blunt music video, and it really kind of resonates with you too, especially, when you've had that relationship or had that situation happen. I remember that song came out or that audition came out a little bit, it was a little bit after my dad had passed. And it was kind of a similar situation for me because it was kind of that thing, we sat in a hospital and just sang songs and held his hand during his final moments. And it was just one of those, that song resonated with me so bad to the point where I couldn't even listen to it without crying or breaking down at all. And then now it's just a happy memory. So, you think about it and you're like, hey, and then he goes on, wins the whole thing, shout out to Iam Tongi. I mean, I'm not really big with American Idol, more of a voice guy myself and kind of like the old voice because it was more of a display of talent. But then again, it's all scripted anyway, so whatever. But I don't know, that's good. And one of our listeners said that fun fact, Iam Tongi is from Manua, so shout out to Manua Tele Worldwide.
I'm sure Manua wants to claim Iam Tongi.
We claim everybody, Rooster Gang out here.
To me, Iam Tongi has now joined my list of people who can actually make me cry because of their song. So we got Punya Lava, Lani Alo, and now Iam Tongi. Those are the 3 artists who can make me cry.
Yeah, I just want to, as you've heard from us, get ready, Iam, because you're going to have a lot of family members you didn't know about, like just reaching out. So, look out for us, take us with you. But for reals, I just wanted to even comment on the format of American Idol because, I'm not one to tune into it for a long time just because, it's not really made for me. I listen to a lot of, hip hop and reggae mostly. And so like, if you're performing top 40 pop songs, it's not usually something I listen to. No disrespect to that, because obviously there's very talented people involved in that music. But I think it's great that in recent years you get shows like American Idol and The Voice. We all kind of grew out of the early 2000s craze where those shows were more known for the audition phases with the crazy people. Look, William Hung is still in my top 10, American Idol artist for real.
Oh, she bangs.
William Hung, man. And so, but I'm glad that, that format has long since moved on from that. But a person like me, that's my memories attached to American Idol and things like that. And, so like, props to them for using that platform to properly expose the world to very talented people who have a lot to offer as far as that talent goes. And so I'm happy that the format focuses on the artists at hand more so now.
Did you guys peep his homecoming in Hawaii when he
Jack
was
Johnson.
when he was popping the wrist candy? As soon as I
Tongi knows
saw the
what's up.
video, I looked at it, I was like, oh, hey, that's a Matai watch. Heck yeah. And he was representing hardcore with it. Wore it the next day when he was out visiting everybody, and you could just see it. So, I mean, hey,
See?
it's a movement. Get it going.
Yeah, if you're watching now, make sure you get yourself a Matai watch to represent yourself, your culture, your identity. It pays homage to our ancestors, the people of the past, present, and the future. Matai watches. They got you covered for style, the whole shebang.
The packaging, side note, for the Manaya watches is also amazing for the women out there. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, we have a women's collection for all the women who wants a Matai watch.
But speaking of format, we were talking before we started recording a Ryan Seacrest. What the heck? Like, I know you may have been running over on time, but like when you announced the winner, like I didn't even really have time to have, the butterflies gather. Like, oh man, I hope it's him. I hope it's him. Like, and the winner is Iam Tongi. And then everybody, just ran off. Like, what the heck is this? Like, we can't enjoy the moment. There was no buildup. I don't know. Maybe the Vegas odds.
Nah, they already knew. It was kind of like he had more exposure, or at least I don't want to say.
Oh yeah, we all know that, but still, you want the dramatic finish. You know what I'm saying? Because there has never been a following for
it was like
an 808 artist. Speaking as someone from the 808 and Polynesian in general, like this, there has never been support because like Spencer and all of us were talking about the things that resonate with us, and he just hit every heartstring, every emotion that you can think of on the dot, and that deserved a little bit of more, a little more sweet finish for me. But freaking Ryan.
Yeah, it didn't have to be exaggerated like the Masked Singer. You know how the Masked Singer, it takes like a minute for them to try to take out the mask, but at least give it like 15 seconds or something.
Well, you guys remember like the MTV days? You remember that World's Best Dance Crew, like the very first season? And then the Jabberwockies came out into the scene, and it was like from the third episode, everybody knew who was going to win that thing. It was just week after week. It was just mind-blowing performances, something you had never seen before, precision choreography with everything else. It wasn't overly flashy, and it was cool. And so, like, as it got later on in the episodes, they had tried to do stuff to like, oh, that was like your weakest performance. So obviously, if the bar is this high, if it doesn't reach that quota, it's never going to be good enough. And then they tried to do like a little cliffhanger thing, but at the end, we all knew it was going to happen, and eventually just announced Jabberwockies, and it was kind of like, And ever since then, that show hasn't peaked. Couldn't have done any better after that.
No, for real, it's like, you knew this was going to happen because it's this is the big moment. The whole show, the whole season is meant to build up to this moment. It's like, look, you got to book another half hour. I know there's other programs that you got to show on your network and stuff, but look, if you're showing a baseball game and that game goes extra innings, you keep showing the game. You don't cut the feed, especially on a season like this one where, the ratings really got a boost, so I'm sure this was profitable enough that you could have booked another half hour and been like, hey, let's prepare for this. But, it's just kind of awkward, because we're building to this big moment the whole season. It's like, and the winner is Tongi. All right, good night, everybody. So, yeah, that was definitely a bit of a fumble, but whatever. We got the outcome we want at least. I would have liked to relish the moment a little bit longer, but they knew that we had a podcast to do. They're like, all right, we got to end this so Behind the Lava can get going.
I want to give props to the silent heroes on Facebook who are streaming live for us who wanted to watch the American Idol episode, because usually I don't tune in on on TV and all that channel. So I was watching one of the live streams, and it was pretty clear. Like, he was actually streaming from probably his laptop. I believe the last name was Langi. Shout out Langi, amazing. live
Hey,
until
shout out Langi.
until they try to announce the winner. Then your connection was starting to, delay.
Shh. Hey, don't try to snitch on the internet. Don't, I'm snitching on bro right now.
Hey, Langi's a pretty big name. It could be any Langi.
Yeah, there are some famous
Yeah.
langis out there.
Langi. There's
Palangi.
Yeah,
there you go.
Palangi. So
Yeah,
shout out to all the live streamers out there. Thank you for bringing American Idol to Facebook.
Yeah, shout out to those unsung heroes because there's some people out there. It's that whole not all heroes wear capes situation. Like my favorite example was forever ago. There was this guy who was he bought a UFC pay-per-view and he was trying to get it out to the masses, and so he streamed it on Twitch. But he had his game remote control going the whole time. And so he was like playing with that because he was just telling people, oh no, I'm playing the new UFC game. So he's like faking that he's playing the game, but it was really the live feed. I'm like, hey, salute to that guy. All those unsung heroes that get it out to the masses.
One thing that stood out to me when I was watching this episode, because we obviously don't know Iam Tongi personally, but to me, he was that genuine 18-year-old kid. Like on the show, he was joking around, like all the poly kids. We joke around and we do things like you would turn around, joke with your buddy during a serious moment. So that, to me, he was genuine on the show.
Kind of like a really good people person, get along with everybody, vibes with everybody, puts out that positive aspect of a lot of, like, majority of how Polynesians act. When you see us we tend to get along most of the time. Every now and then we get a few, just like everybody else, we get a few bad apples, or just people in general. People have different preferences. Fortunately, in our culture, we pride ourselves in being outgoing. We go out there and you fellowship and you meet other people, because on the islands, you're confined to a set population. And then you're separated. Your borders were your village borders, and then when you're falling short, it's a small town community vibe. You need something during hurricane season, you don't have something, the village over will bring something over, and it's kind of just gravitated to how we portray ourselves out in public. Because I know the Father Love is a bad topic. Everybody talks about, oh, Father Love is just very, the obligations get heavy, but at the same time, during those Father Loves, we're welcoming people come in to show their support, like genuine families and people that have known the deceased or anything of the sort would come over and show their love and support. And just, this is our little two-piece. So you meet a lot of them and you're like, man, I haven't seen you since. And so you go out and in the general public and you treat everybody else the same way. Hi, what's your name? I'm so-and-so. It's nice to meet you. Hey, this is my friend. Come over. It was never kind of a thing where it was like an elitist mindset for most of the people. But, we still have our fair share of drama. When the hen house starts talking, a couple of rumors gets thrown out there. But overall, I think he portrayed or emanated the everyday Polynesian psyche, or just how we act and interact with the general public. Or, I could just make this sound fancy, but I'm actually just, blowing smoke up everybody. So take it with a grain of salt. I'm not trained or professional.
One thing that stood out to me because I edited a podcast where the mics on American Idol, every time I see a singing show, I watch their mics and try to find out what brand they're using. But shout out to our sponsors and all those who have donated to our podcast. If you notice, the mics on our cast have been upgraded with new mics and some boom arms to try to bring you quality audio. So if the quality for the audio is lacking, it's probably because one of our co-hosts is not moving up to the mic and speaking to the mics properly.
I'm close enough. This is too close.
But
get a little claustrophobic up in this thing.
Thank you to our supporters. We really appreciate your help and assistance, and and 100% support for our podcast and our show.
Now you can get the full range of this monotone voice like right up in your ear. You won't miss a beat.
Keep working on that radio co-host personality voice as we speak in a lower baritone. So, I mean, it's been a long time since we've done topics. What do you guys want to talk about?
Hold on, let me shout out a homie real quick. Linnell Springs Sr. Hey, rest in peace, man. So I'm not gonna act like we were super close. It was a dude I knew playing basketball. Phenomenal hooper. He's not built like, a lot of these cut young Marine athletes. He was built a bit different, but he was a good man, good Marine. And I don't know exactly what happened, but it seemed like his leadership let him down as far as kicking a man when he's down. I think maybe he might have gotten into some trouble. And, once your guy's in trouble, you don't want to add to that. You want to make sure they're on the path to redemption and not digging themselves deeper or finding themselves in the dark places, which is where my guy Linnell ended up. He put out a video that I shared. I didn't put too much about it, but it was him sitting in his car, thanking his sergeant major and his colonel for adding to his stress. And he even posted a status as, who would have known that 19th of May would be my last day here on earth. And he was doing all his goodbyes, and you didn't necessarily see the firearm, but you saw the part of the mag in his hand, and hear him open up the glove box. So you know what's in the glove box. And he went, and you hear him load the weapon, racked around, but you don't really see it. But he didn't do it on camera at the time. But after he did that live video, there's a post from his family member saying that he's been located. And when they say located, I assume, all right, he's off the ledge, he's good to go. And I didn't think nothing of it, but sure enough, following day, 20th, yesterday, there's all the rest in peace, the fly high, and all that. Like man, sad to see a brother go like that. I really felt a lot of pain. If you met him, you would never thought he, like most people who end up going this route, you never would have thought he would have done it. But I just want to take the time and say rest in peace to my fellow hooper. I'm not, one thing we do as people who know someone who's taking their own life happen to blame themselves, but I don't. But at the same time, I want to apologize to him, for that, all the people that nobody could have really been there for him, that nobody was there for him when he needed the most. And I just hope, I don't know, I just hope that leadership under the command that he was in corrects themselves and they recognize their own mistake, because that video of his live has been shared multiple times. I don't know if Facebook is taking it down or whatever, but it's out there. And yeah, man, rest in peace, brother. My condolences to the Springs family.
Yeah. And then while we're on the topic, I wrote something that will soon be available like in 2 weeks on the I Love You Bro project, and it's about my walk on depression and suicide. And this I wrote towards the end, that depression, it doesn't have to be a part of who we are, and we can learn to manage it by finding purpose in our lives. So personally, for me, what keeps me going is the desire to see my kids grow up and try to witness the incredible paths that they'll take in their lives. So taking your own lives, for those who are out there, it's never, don't let that be the master of your story. And for me, I refuse to let it be my story. And this podcast has greatly helped me in my journey in trying to understand mental health and trying to overcome my mental struggle. So rest in peace, and our condolences to his family. And remember the to our listeners out there, there's always that national hotline. I believe it's 988. If you can't reach out to anyone, call that number. There's always someone on the other end who will talk to you.
Yes, rest in peace, and sincere condolences to the family. You know, us, especially in the military community, are probably all too familiar with this subject. Unfortunately, you know, we just hope we can find some solace and some peace over time. But our sincere condolences to you all.
Now, what do you guys think about what this sets for Polynesians, Pacific Islanders? Now that Iam has accomplished something this big as winning American Idol, because there have been other singers in the past. I think there's a woman named Trias,
Jasmine Trias,
and
Camille Velasco. There's another big Samoan Hawaiian dude a while ago.
Segundo, Segundo. That's his last name.
Segundo?
Yeah, I think so. But there have been other people who enter the competition, but none has been victorious like the great Iam.
Oh, you remember that Vaifanua girl from here? She made it pretty far. I think top 28. Taylor Vaifanua. She was from here in Utah County. She was on American Idol. I think she made the top 28, I believe. Yeah, that was like 2008 or 10 or 11.
What season is this? Is it like
14?
season 50?
No.
14.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
It's
I don't watch it enough.
It's probably in high double digits.
I know it was like maybe almost 10 years ago. So it was quite a while ago. I think Randy Jackson was still on the show, kicking stuff out. But, you know, why don't we do it? Google is free. I can pull that up right now.
While Johnny is Googling, let's get straight to one of our sponsors. Ask yourself, if I were to die tonight, would my family struggle to make just next month's bills? Not to mention every month after that. If you answered yes to that question, then life insurance is your best way to help your family be prepared. None of us know when we're going to go back home, and we've all known more than one person that was very young and healthy yet still passed away unexpectedly. Now, the younger you are, the chances are smaller that you pass away before your parents, but are you willing to take that chance with your family's life? If not, the next thing you need to figure out is how do you get the most life insurance possible for the smallest amount of money. Most agents are captive agents, selling only their captive agents options, which are always the most expensive. You need an independent agent like Ray Keller, who started Independent Island Life Insurance Agency specifically to help everyone get the most affordable life insurance possible. He maintains access to every carrier out there and is never beat on price or quality. I mean, how do you beat someone on price or quality when they have access to it all? Short answer, you don't. Many have tried and all have failed. Reach out to Ray Keller at 435-200-4869 or find him on Facebook or Instagram at Independent Island Life Insurance. Remember, with life insurance, you're either early or late. You're never on time.
This message brought to you by Michael Tan, not ChatGPT.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Ray too, because I wasn't on that episode when he was on and really liked what I heard. And I meant to get back to you because he reached out to me saying, hey, you know, just letting you know, I know you're a part of one of the cast members. I've got a service for you. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm still young though. So, you know, that's why I've been taking my time now. But honestly, though, my situation is kind of easy for the moment. I don't have a family or anything. All my stuff just goes to my parents and they can divvy it out however they want it, you know, push came to shove. But I don't know, as I get more family members in the future, I'll definitely reach out.
Well, for those sitting on the edge of your seats, she made it to season 8, or she was from season 8 and made it top 36. So, yeah, and she was from Hurricane, Utah. See, I know a little bit here and there. Shout out to Taylor and, yeah, all that stuff. But, yeah, so shout out to all the polys out there doing stuff. They put themselves out there and they go for it. So, I mean, we're just over here talking behind a screen.
See, you said it wrong though. It's like if you're from Southern Utah, it's not hurricane, it's hurricane. It's Hurricane Utah. So,
I'm trying to prove my point that I'm not
record.
from Southern Utah. I'm from up north. No. Yeah, you weirdos like the sun too much down there.
Oh, what's the other city? Tooele.
Thule.
Tooele.
Now,
leave my county alone.
We got one of them out here. Out here up north, there's a town called Hooper, but they'll tell you it's called Hupper. I don't know why, but I went. We had some kids that lived in Hupper that went to our school, and I was like, "Oh, you're from Hooper? It's Hupper."
Duchesne.
Oh yeah.
Shout out
Duchesne.
Shout out to Utah and all their pronunciations.
Oh, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Especially a lot of those.
I love it.
Yeah, Duchesne County.
Apparently, Utahns don't pronounce their T's, is what I was told. Because when I was a missionary, people were like, "Oh, you're from Utah, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" They're like, "Oh, it's just your accent." I'm like, "I have an accent?" And they're like, "Yeah, like when you say mountains, like you say mountains, not mountains." I'm like, "I guess I never noticed that, but I guess you're right."
Show me somebody who actually says mountains.
Right. Or
I like
Layton,
mountain,
not
dude.
Layton. He's like, "Don't put me in with that."
Well, does that include the Islanders? Because Nothing But Grinds, one of our sponsors.
Nothing.
Check them out.
Nothing.
It's not nothing. It's not nothing. It's nothing. Right, T? How do you say it?
Oh, nothing but grinds, eh? So it depends on what side of the island you're from. But going back to the topic of Ian, what I loved about him is how he always represented for his faith, which he's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You had the reel of him and other cast members of American Idol up in the hotel room, harmonizing "I Need Thee" every hour. Church him, by the way. But going back to what he does for other Pacific Islanders or Polynesians is, no matter what religion you are, any church you go to, there's people who can jam. There's so much talent. Any communities, those church communities, there's always people that can sing, but mainly in ours, no matter where you go, there's always people that are jamming, even outside the church. And there's so much talent all over the island of Hawaii, man. Any corner you go, people can play the uke. It's not, by the way, it's ukulele, not ukulele. There's no double E. But anyways, anywhere in Hawaii, or you go Long Beach, you go Washington, anywhere in California, out here in Utah, there are so many Pacific Islanders who are so talented, man. But there's something within that American Idol process and registering that a lot of them don't make it through. Like there's a brother I knew back in Hawaii. He was, I don't know if it was Kaipo Kapua or someone else. But I went to high school with Kaipo, but they went to audition for American Idol and they wouldn't let him through. He would smack anybody in the season there in that time. But anyways,
I think they have to sell. They have to have the image, the look, the talent or non-talent, a story to back it up. Remember the guy that made it on there? I think it was American. It was either American Idol or America's Got Talent. And a guy, essentially was in the military and deployed, and he did this whole spiel about how he's deployed and how he suffers from PTSD and how he was shot. And
said he had a TBI.
Yeah. And it never happened. When a couple of his buddies that actually served with him and came out and they're like, "Nah, man, no, you never deployed." But, the guy did everything he could to get on stage. And yeah, that's what they're looking for. Either you're really bad or you're really good. But you can't just be good anymore. You got to have a story, an image thing, something they can sell, something people would watch.
I mean, and that translates over to, I guess, just the reality show format of a lot of things. I remember there was a season of The Ultimate Fighter where every person, like, they did this whole introduction thing for like all 16 fighters that they brought in that season. They gave them all their 5 minutes of fame where they got to tell their story before they started making the fight to get in the house. And everybody had a sob story. Everybody broke out into tears. And I was just like, man, look, respect to all you, because I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and assume you're not making this stuff up. But I'm like, at a certain point, I'm like, I just tuned in to watch some fights, man. Like, I didn't need to be touched so I could start sobbing with you. Like, if it's sincere, then, you know, sell it, you know, by all means, like, bring that to the table. Because, you know, like, obviously Tongi's a lot of his success goes to the authenticity of sharing his story. But sometimes you hear from somebody and like, is that authentic? You know, like you gave that example with the vet who made his whole story up. I'm like, look, people want authenticity too. So you can only make up so much. That only take you so far. But I hope that with him in the spotlight, it just continues to build, I want to say, reputation, or just like the notoriety of Polynesian people, you know, because like we're still in a time where if we introduce ourselves as Samoan, people are like, oh, Somalians, or, you know, something like that. And, you know, that's starting to dissipate more. People like The Rock, people like, you know, Jason Momoa, you know, and now we've got Tongi. It's like you're out there representing on a larger stage for Pacific Islanders. And I just look forward to a time where we're less of a stranger to most of our global family, and they recognize us, and, you know, like that'll just be nice. And I think that's great to just see us showcased in positive ways. So once again, congratulations, shouts out to Tongi.
Yeah, and that's important, especially in this age, you know, AAPI, trying to separate that whole labeling from Asian and Pacific Islanders. And I believe the floodgates have been opened by Iam on, you know, all these artists are going to come out now that Apolly has won an actual show. Because I don't think there's been a Apolly who's won America's Got Talent or The Voice or you know, what's this show again?
American
Idol. Yeah, American Idol. I just forgot the name of the show.
Iam Tongi is what the name of the show is called.
Iam Tongi. It's all about Iam Tongi.
Yeah.
Forget about the show. But yeah, now all these artists are going to strive for what Iam has accomplished. It's like seeing your role model, and now you want to accomplish what your role models have accomplished and go beyond. So that's what I think.
Yeah, and, you know, hope he keeps it up, and I hope it also is you know, he did a really good job, like we said earlier, spotlighting Polynesian music, because he kept it real. Like he kept the poly spin on all of his performances. And I remember even seeing, I can't remember which song it was, but it was a cover, one that we're all familiar with. I can't remember off the top of my head, but where he did it in the style that we were all familiar with growing up listening to it. But a lot of the comments
Stuck on You.
That's what it was. A lot of the comments were like, oh, he did such a good job adapting this to his own stylization. And it's like, oh no, like he's actually using the version that we all grew up with, you know, and they're like, oh, really? And it's like, yeah. And so that alone, I hope this opens up people's eyes, and it's like, oh, there's a whole world of music, like whether it be a cover or originals, that I am not familiar with, and hopefully they can come to a new appreciation for that as well, and start spotlighting more Polynesian artists as well. Because not too long ago, I remember when it comes to the Grammys, they removed Pacific Islander music as a category at the time. This is probably old news, and they probably brought it back since, but I just remember that being the case. But, you know, hopefully through Tongi, you know, we start seeing more of those doors open up where people are more interested in our music.
So one of our listeners, shout out to Tama Luma, I think that's his name, is asking, do y'all think Pacific Islanders should have their own month? So we've covered this topic in the past, and to understand and get more of our perspective, I don't know which episode, but it's covered. But let me get y'all's short input on that question. For me, Should we have our own month? I don't think so. I don't think we need a month because that's an American thing, trying to put a month to everything. We don't need a month as long as we're ripping like Tongi, like Iam Tongi. We're out there ripping every day, not just 1 month, every single day. We don't need a month for our people.
Nah, I say we need a day, 1 day. When you get a whole month, at the beginning of the month, everybody's shouting it out. Hey, yo, it's the beginning of the month. But to keep that same energy throughout the month, it's exhausting. But you make it 1 day. Look at Cinco de Mayo. Everybody's prepping. Oh, snap, it's almost Cinco de Mayo. Bam. Go hard for 1 day. Call it good. Wait till next year. Give it a day. Don't need no month.
Hell yeah. Why not get a month? Because they bombed the crap out of our islands. They used our oceans. I might as well recognize, oh yeah, these are the people we bombed their small little islands, and you know, they about to overflow and freaking lose their land underwater pretty soon. Yeah, let's give them a month. Let's recognize them. And besides, you got the football pipeline going on, so they're gonna know soon enough.
So is our month going to be like right around draft time?
Dog, that would be awesome.
That would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Start having tribal patterns on the NFL shield.
Yeah, there we go. It's like in the corner.
I'm kind of like 50-50 on this still, where it depends on what you mean by a month, because I said this last year when we talked about this, that when I thought of Black History Month, where that really sticks out to me was when I was a kid. Black History Month meant, okay, we're going to come to school. We're going to learn about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Rosa Parks. And it's like we got to learn. The focus of our education went to highlighting very important figures in American history who were Black. And I liked that when I was a kid. And whenever it was Black History Month, I was like, hey, I get to learn more about these cool people. Now, that's what Black History Month was to me growing up. And as an adult, it's been rather inconsequential. So like when we say Pacific Islander Heritage Month, like what are we getting from that month? Because I'm like, are children going to school learning about important figures in Pacific Islander heritage? And if not, then like, what's the point? Like, I don't know. The education, the focusing on highlighting history should be the point of that. But if we're not getting that, then what's the point of a month? Because then at a certain point, like I also said last year, we just run out of months. Not everybody can have a day to feel special. And it goes back to like, you guys ever watch The Incredibles? Like that was Syndrome's big plan was, I'm going to sell my technology to give everybody superpowers, because when everybody's special, nobody will be. And that's basically what we're doing with like, hey, I want my month. Well, he wants his month. They want their month. And it's a good thing to focus on educating kids and highlighting important people and accomplishments. But at a certain point, as an adult, I feel like it's all inconsequential to me. So I'm kind of 50-50. I'd be all for it, especially if for kids to learn about Pacific Islander heritage, that I would like that to be the case. But I don't have kids. So once again, it doesn't really affect me.
Something interesting, because you brought up kids. May is our month, right? And May happens to be the burn down plan for schools to do all the testing and all these things trying to wrap up the school year. So what happens? The month doesn't get celebrated by schools, especially here in the US. So unless your school is culturally a cultural school, AAPI or even Pacific Islanders aren't celebrated in schools. I bring that up because my kids' schools don't even celebrate it because they're focused on testing. Right now, they're testing. School is done. Next week, graduations for them. And if you see all the high schools, they're all doing their graduations. Even the colleges are doing their graduations. So what's the use of a month for trying to educate our kids if they're not educating them, just like Black History Month and all those months that happen to fall in the school year, like Asian I forgot the other Chinese New Year's. Schools celebrate that. So, it just happens that we get the suckiest month to try to educate our kids because they're more focused on testing than holding a festival or some sort of event to educate our kids on Asians or even Pacific Islanders.
And then they're going to tell you don't bring Lays to the graduation too. Dang, I didn't think about that.
Oh yeah, the no lays, the no tauvalas, the no. Yeah, that was for a bit. All in the purpose of uniformity and equality and transparency, and not to offend the other kids who didn't have any lays or nobody showed up for their graduate. And I mean, I see your point, but what's the old age or what's the dilemma now? The solution? Just because you're offended doesn't mean I have to, change the way I live to accommodate you. Who's going to accommodate me? As Jordan Peterson said, and for all you non-Jordan Peterson fans, I don't care. I like Jordan Peterson. Some of the stuff he says makes sense, but it's kind of like if you're gonna be offended about something, then you have to risk being you're gonna have to risk being offensive, because if you can take offense, doesn't mean the other person can't take offense. Why should they accommodate you if you're not willing to accommodate them? If you're the one that's offended first, doesn't make you the one that's correct.
Hey, you know what? If you want to lay, just make friends with polys, man. They'll bring extra. I promise
or
you.
Or just make your own lay and throw it on your kid. Who cares? At this point, as long as, if I seen somebody come up with a makeshift tauvala, that's different. But if I see saran wrap and candy, go for it.
Yeah, and to all those Americans out there, it's not cultural appropriation. Just make yourself a lei and throw it on your graduate because it's a form of celebration, and you're celebrating your graduate.
They sell fake leis in stores.
Yeah, it's not cultural appropriation. Yeah. Come on now.
Just get the plastic, flower leis that you get at the dollar store. Throw on your kids, so we know that's definitely not culture. You bought that at the store. But if you show up with the Tongan flower necklace, oh no, you know what? Might be a little different. But yeah, make your candy leis and give them out. Or stop by. My kid's going to have a bunch. I'll just throw some on your kid too. Why not? Who cares? I celebrate everybody who's graduating. And the beauty about graduation season is especially if you have a lot of nieces and nephews and cousins graduating, you do the whole graduation party hopping. You go from one graduation party, make a plate, go to the next one, make a plate. You're fed for basically the first half of June.
I think we're at a good stopping point. I'm happy. Because this episode is all about Iam. I'm happy that Iam won. We all won. Right? Even behind the Lava Lava podcast.
Hey, shout out to Iam and Matai Watches. Way to represent. Way to push it. Good job, bro.
Rest in peace, Flip Springs. And also rest in peace to Vili Ngata, brother of Haloti.
Ngata family.
Our condolences to them. Huge fan of his work. We don't personally know him, but somebody of his background, his artistry, we just like to put names out there of our people, in circulation, get that name known, and also maybe for their kids in the future.
Yes, our condolences to all the families involved, and congratulations again to Tongi, and thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening for another episode of Behind the Lava Lava. We're very happy that you would join us and celebrate with us as we, commemorate this great time. And remember, we are sponsored by Matai Watches, a unique way of looking fly while celebrating your heritage. So be sure to check that out. Find it. You can do your online shopping at behindthelavalava.com. Check out the shop. And remember, you can find us on all streaming platforms, all social medias, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all that. So we appreciate your love and support. Until next time, everybody.
One last plug. Before we go, I have to do this because the comment that just came in,
I saw that.
Just so happens to be somebody who I care hold dear to my heart. It's my wife. So she said that in honor of Polys this month, can you guys individually do a Siva or your biggest Chihu? So I think it's a good spot to end it. We can end it right now. But I just wanted
Yeah,
to
there's
shout
sorry,
out to
there's
my
not
wife.
gonna be a Siva. There's not gonna be a Siva. I had to move my mic a little bit, but
Oh,